Definitely seems like it's comet season, so let's get processing some comets. Welcome to SASpro. Now I'm going to start off by saying there are tons of people that can process comets way better than me. So this should be just a primer, get you up and running, get some processing under your belt in SASpro here, and then by all means look up great tutorials by some of the other individuals out there on actually processing it really well. But this should be enough to get you armed and dangerous and processing some comets. So I have some data graciously given to me by a couple different Discord members. So if you want to hop over on my Discord, we've got lots of users on there discussing all sorts of different things. Just a great place to come discuss astrophotography in general. So as a quick refresher, I have all my calibrated lights in here for my comet. This is the first set of data. I'm going to check create comet stack. There's some stuff down in the wrench icon down here, specifically around if you're removing the stars, what to use, high clip and percentile for the actual clipping. Everybody's data is going to be a little different. You may want to tune some of that, but the defaults should get you up and running. I'm going to click pick comet center, and there's an auto stretch button here so you could see where the comet is, and it will be bayered still if you have a one-shot color camera, but just go on in, zoom in, and pick the comet center. You could even turn off the auto stretch, may help you see where the exact center is, and then just click OK. And then I'm going to click register and integrate images and let it just roll. All right, when we get to this point, we get to verify the center of the comet. And you can turn on and off the gamma here, and it allows you to flick through the images and just make sure that the center is where it's supposed to be. Sometimes the tracking gets confused, it gets thrown off a little bit, like right here. You could just click the auto and it helps recenter it really quickly. And you may actually have to, click the center and then click auto again. It just depends on your data. And then there's an option here, you could propagate it to like the next, 12 images, and now it's going to put that circle on the next 12 images, and that's just going to help you keep it in line when you're trying to just go through and verify that the centers are all there. Everybody's data is going to be a little bit different. The amount of cleanup you may have to do here will just depend on your own data. So I'm just going to go through and click these to make sure that the center of the comet is where it needs to be. Then I'm going to click OK and let it just keep running. So now it's going to go through and remove the stars and make that starless stack for us. So I'll be back when that's completed. All right, after the stars were removed, it finished with the comet alignment and that stack. So let's go ahead and look at that data. When you look at the data, you'll have 3 images, one which is just a master stack, one with the comet only, and one with the blend. So let's go ahead and look at all of them. Now, the blend is just to give you an idea of the potential of your image. It's really not there to be used post-process. I mean, if it looks great, wonderful, but that's really just to give you an idea. I fully expect you to have to process the images separately here. So we can close the reject combine because the comments don't have that. We can auto stretch. This is the normal master stack. This is the comet only. And then this is the blend it came up with. And honestly, at first glance, it doesn't look too bad, but we have a heck of a lot of stacking artifacts here, so we need to crop them all the same first. So I'm just going to open up crop. I'm going to toggle the auto stretch on so we can see what's going on and give it a good healthy crop, and be sure to make sure you get all the stacking artifacts out of there. So I would recommend doing it on the comet only one, since that had the most movement, right? It was tracing the comet as it was doing the stack. And then click batch crop all open, and it's going to apply that same exact crop to all the open images for us. There, and now we can really see a lot better what's going on here. We have our comet only image, our normal stack with just a bunch of artifacts in it. And then this is just the simple blend, again, to give you an idea of what's going on in your image. I'm just going to close that blend right now. So what's happening here? When we do a normal stack, the comet's moving in the image. Our traditional methods of doing things like sigma clipping and all that is good for really controlling noise and helping minimize other artifacts. But when you have a big bright blob slowly moving in your image, you're going to end up with just some overlapping weirdness there, which is okay. We're going to deal with that. And then the comet only stack looks really good. You're going to see stuff that kind of looks like walking noise and stuff because it's moving slowly in the image and you're kind of marching the image with it. That's okay. You're also going to have probably some streaks where the star removal wasn't perfect, and we're going to have to process them as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just do ABE on both of them here. Get rid of this gradient that you can see. A couple things here. This bright center of the comet is probably going to throw off the simple polydegree 2. So I would definitely put that down to like a polydegree 1. That's going to depend on your image. I'm going to go ahead and draw an exclusion area around the comet. We don't need a bunch of points in there. And then I'm just going to click apply. Similarly, on the normal stack, we could run ABE. There's not a whole lot of gradient going on here, but just so we're kind of keeping it all together, I'll draw a similar exclusion area around this one, and I'll go down to degree 1 as well, and then just click apply. All right, we're going to have to do some items with this. Now, I know a lot of people like hanging out in the linear stage. The only thing you really need to do in the linear stage is color calibrate, since you want the fluxes of the stars to still be linear. Pretty much anything after that point, you don't need to be in there. So I'm really not even going to worry about that because the comet itself, the comet only image itself, you really can't use those traditional color calibration items, right? There's no stars in this. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this a statistical stretch right off the bat. Keep them unlinked. We can give it a little preview. Sounds good. I'm going to click apply. Now here's our nice comet. So this is going to be our comet only one we're going to work with. We're going to have to do some cleanup there. And then same with the master light. Let's just go ahead and similarly just give it the same statistical stretch. So we kind of have the same scale now on both of these. If you have a bunch of stars in your image and you want to go the SPCC route or stellar-based color calibration, by all means you can. All right, some things we're going to want to do on this. We want to get rid of these blotchy things in the middle here, right? So we're actually going to run star removal once again on our master light here. This will be really important, especially if you have, nebula and stuff in here that you want to preserve. But I'm going to go ahead and run star removal. It's not linear anymore. We already did a statistical stretch. We have the stars only here. And we have this starless one, which looks really, really close to the comet only, right? There's really no background structure in this set of images. All right, and in this case, there is no real incentive to even use the traditionally stacked starless image because there's no background structure in it. If we had galaxies and nebula or something back here, we would want to use this. We would want to use like Blemish Blaster to just blast that whole core away and then, put the stars back in and screen. We'll do that with the next round of data, but we're just going to use the stars and put it in the comet only one. So let's go ahead now and denoise this and get rid of these streaky blemishes. And then we'll do just little curves and get the stars back in. So I'm going to go ahead and denoise, give it a good denoise. This will depend again on your data, how much denoising you're going to want to do. I'm going to use Cosmic Clarity denoise. There's also Graxpert denoise in here. If you just want to use traditional denoise methods, TV denoise is actually in the convolution deconvolution button up here. Multiple ways to go about denoising your image. So now that we've done a pass on denoising, we really want to get rid of these big streak things. So let's go ahead and pull up Blemish Blaster. Now this is auto stretched, so you could really see some of the details where some of these things are. So that's fine. Let's go keep it on auto stretch. It'll be easier to see what's going on. You can even make this thing bigger. You can mouse wheel to zoom in and out. But we're going to want to get rid of these large, weird, stellar remnant streaks. And remember, with Blemish Blaster, the bigger the circle is, the length of time to compute the fix goes with the square of the radius, right? It's the area. So just keep that in mind if you're doing really big circles. That might take a bit of time. When you've done blasting what you need to, just click Apply to Document. And there we go. Now here's our nice image. Now it's just a matter of doing some personal taste, personal tweaks, right? Let's pull up curves. Let's try to bring the background down a little bit. We don't got to do anything too crazy here. If you do want to get a little more sophisticated, you could always make like a range selection mask or a lightness mask. And when you have a lightness mask, when you apply it, now when you do curves, it's going to affect the bright things more than the dim things. So you're going to actually want to invert it. So you can do Control K, Control Shift I. You could see how the mask is getting applied. And now we could actually bring the background down quite a bit and still have the core of the comet coming through pretty good still. And you can see we could just now kind of really adjust the tail and the comet here kind of separately. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we may want another round of denoising, right? It really depends on your data. I'm going to close the mask, make sure I remove the mask here. I'm going to go ahead and give it another round of denoising. I'll just do illuminance. And then adding the stars back in is surprisingly simple now. You could always pull up the layers panel. And we want to rename this like Comet or something so we know what it is. Here's our comet. You can just drag the stars over and it'll create a layer on the comet. And we want to screen it in. And now our stars are in there. I mean, that's how fast it is to go about adding your stars back in. And then you could always pop out the layers panel. But at the bottom is the merge layers and push to view. And that's what's going to solidify our image here now. So we didn't do anything crazy here. It was only 30 subframes, right? So not even a lot of subframes, but just really quick processing. You can go ahead and get a nice comet with, nice stars. The comet is centralized. It's not moving. We have the tail structure going off here. It's looking really good. Just real quick processing. You can go a lot more detailed with this, do a lot more masking, really trying to bring down the background, bringing up the saturation in the comet, things like that. But this should get you some nice steps here. So let me go ahead and look at the other data and we'll get that other data stacked and we can process that too. All right, got everything stacked. So let's go ahead and look at this data. Here's our 3 images again. So here is our blend. There's the comet only and the normal stack. And it does look like there was a dust mote in their particular data that their flat didn't capture, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and still process this, similarly and see what we can do about that too. Okay, as always, we're going to go ahead and crop. So let's go ahead and pull up our crop. I actually want on the comet, toggle the auto stretch. All right, now we have our 2 images here. And just to change it up, let's go ahead and run Graxpert instead of ABE to remove the gradient. Lots of options in SASpro Pro. Use the tool that works best. Sometimes Graxpert gradient remover is going to give you a good result. A lot of the time ABE is going to give you the better result. Just use the tools you have. Okay, gradient remover was done. So again, I'm gonna keep this simple, right? Just so you guys can get some good processing in. I'm going to just go ahead and run statistical stretch on both here really quick. Let's get them into a little nonlinear state and then continue on from there. And then on the Comet one, we really can't link any channels, right? But we can go ahead and do a statistical stretch as well. Let's do a preview. Yeah, let's just leave it at the unlinked preview. I'm going to click apply. So again, it's going to be a matter of, let's remove the stars. Let's get rid of the coma here in the center. I do notice that in the corner there's some aberration. So we're probably going to want to run Ricardo's aberration remover first. Now again, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the stars. Okay, I have my stars removed over here. Again, there's really not a whole lot in the background. So that's fine. Let's just go ahead and remove this coma here. And the auto stretch is on. You can see it's really not that crazy, but the auto stretch does help you see where that coma might be. And we're we're just going to blast that whole area away. And now you can see it's gone. If I undo and redo, perfect. Let's go ahead and run. We're going to have to run some things here. Let's run denoise on both of these. We're going to have to do some cleaning up here, and we're definitely going to want to do some masks on this comet. There's all sorts of issues going on with this one. So let's run denoise on both. Okay, now let's look at this comet only. There's a lot going on here. What we're going to want to do is darken the background, highlight the comet, and then pretty much blur everything out of existence around it with a mask. So let's go ahead and open curves at first. And let's just focus on, working our comet here. Probably going to have to take it in steps. All right, the next stage of this is going to be, we're going to want to mask our comet and deal with the background here. So let's pull up a mask. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to want to draw around the comet. Something like this. We want a lightness mask. We're going to want to blur this. And I'm going to push as a new document. We are going to want to protect the comet a little bit more than this. So I'm actually going to go open up curves on our mask here. And do one of these where we can darken that just a bit for us here. Now that we got this darkened, I'm actually going to blur the mask a little bit. So you could use convolution for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the mask on. Now let's open convolution again. And now we're going to really want to give it heck in the background to really blur the background out and protect our comet. Something kind of like this, yeah. I'm just going to say push. All right, now we have our comet here, protect it. The rest is all blurred out. I'm going to go ahead and close this and make sure you remove the mask so there's no little square there. And now we're going to want to darken the background of the comet. Because we're going to end up screening this stuff together, and you really want to make sure that the background's nice and dark on the comet area when you do the screening in. The other thing we're going to want to do is put our stars back in our original image. We'll just call this normal stack so we know what it is, normal stack. And maybe we want to brighten the stars up a bit. You can use star stretch for this, but since it's already kind of non-linear, just give it a smaller stretch amount. And again, layers is really easy to get stars in. So now we put the stars back in. This is our normal star stack. Here's our comet only image. Now if we put that on our normal stack and screen it as well, you can start seeing what we're trying to accomplish here. I think there's still some blotchiness in the comet only stack, but that's okay. We can continue working that. So I'm going to go ahead and clear those layers. Let's go back over here and look at the comet only stack. I'm going to go ahead and make another mask, but this one, some of this blotchiness is really coming down to just chromatic noise that's kind of been amplified. I want to keep that gold from that star, so I'm going to keep that in there. I'm going to go ahead and give this a healthy blur. I'm going to invert it as well, apply it, but what I'm going to do now is I just want to take out this color. So I'm going to click chroma, and I'm just going to pull the chroma down. That's just going to strip color that's out here and just get rid of it. So now that that's been applied, you could also do things like, look at darkening it just a bit. You want to be careful doing something like that because your mask will show up really, really easily if you start doing things like that. You may want to get a very, very tight mask if you want to do that right up on the comet itself. So just be careful with that if you are deciding to use a mask trying to highlight your comet. It will take some finesse One thing you may want to try is a range selection mask, because that can focus a lot more on just the comet itself, and you can kind of squash some of the other things. So you can do something like this. Just, again, be careful when you're actually doing masks and changing the brightness values, because then you could really run into situations where it looks really fake. It looks like you just masked it in. But I mean, if you want to try your hand at it, go for it. Like I said, you're gonna have to just be very careful when you're doing stuff like that. But now here we are back on the normal stack, and you can just go ahead and drag and drop our comet only image to make a layer, and then you could just screen it on and build it out like that. You could even play with the opacity, how much of the comet only you're going in. On second thought, I think we got to do something about that golden color around that star. It just doesn't look quite right. So I'm just going to undo that layer, and let's go ahead and, again, we'll do one more round on this. Let's see if we can't tap this down here. I'm going to go ahead and just do a little freehand mask, and hopefully my drawing ability works with me here today. I'm going to want more blur than that. You really want the transition to be nice. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. All I want to do is bring down the brightness and the color in that blob right there. And we can absolutely do that. Could do that, bring that down, and then also for the chroma, you can bring that down, which will just kind of make that blob more grayscale, which will impact the final image a lot less. So I'm going to close that little mask, make sure I remove the mask here, and let's go ahead and drop that layer on our normal stack and screen it in. There, now we got rid of that big golden glow that was around that star that really didn't look quite right. And we're probably going to want to crop this a little bit. There's some darkening from when we used that big convolved mask. But that's no problem. We'll just go ahead and crop it to what we want to show our viewers anyways. And there we go. Now we got the comet in here without all those wonky stars and stuff like that. And again, there's even more you could have done with lightness masks inside here to try to blur the tail out a little bit more. There's even some higher end techniques to try to get some more definition in here. But this was kind of quick processing, so you can start experimenting and start looking up more tutorials on better comet processing. This is kind of a down and dirty process to help you guys get going, since there's all these comments out right now. Please comment, like, and subscribe.